Okay, I have my shader built. That was a big task, and now I want to start applying the base materials to my model. You can see I've removed all the materials, so because I just want to start from scratch, and I'm going to put all the kind of base materials on so I can see the overall effect of the model, and then go in and start art direction. Now, before I get started, you'll notice all my texture sets are set to 4K. And this is going to bog my machine down while I'm working, and I want to work fast and efficient. So I'm going to change this resolution while I'm working, but right before I export the textures out, I will turn everything back to 4K to get the highest resolution that I can. So I'm going to shift select all these and go to my texture set settings and change this from 4096 to 2048. All right, so it's going to go through and change all those materials. We did lose a little bit of resolution, but I think this is going to be just fine for what we're doing. All right, so let's just select this top one, and I'm going to find my material. So I'm under my Smart Material menu, and I'm looking for mech. All right, so I could just drag. I could do one of two things. Remember, we have color IDs built for this mech, and I want to utilize them. So I could do one of two things here. I could either just drag the material onto the model and then come over here to the mask and add a mask with the color selection, and then click on my picker and then pick on the green, which represents the white paint. All right, but that's too many steps. I want to be a little bit more efficient than this. So what I can do is hold down Alt and Control and drag, and you see that whatever texture set that I drag this onto, it's going to highlight the color ID that I want to apply it to. So I'm going to pick the green, which represents white paint, and then I'm just going to drag this onto each texture set or body part. And I think we have more up at the top here. Yep, right there. So that's good. Now, I could just start working on the white paint, but really, I'm not going to see how it's going to look on the overall model without having, at least some sort of materials on the rest of the body. All right, so I'm going to look for a paint, and I'm just going to work with this steel paint right here, this red one. It has a little bit of edging built in, so I'm going to Control, Alt, drag that on to the blue material, which represents the black paint. All right, and then I'm going to come in and change the color. So we'll grab the red. I'm going to make this a dark gray, not quite black. And for this material, I'm going to instance this onto the other body parts. And then I'll just see how it works out on everything, and I'll decide whether or not I need to add a little rust or some other dirt or stuff like that. So right now, I'm just going to say Instance and select all except the source and apply that. All right, so that's on everything. Now I need this black metal here. I'm just going to use a gunmetal, and let's see which one I like here. I think I'm going to go with the first one and Control Alt click that on. And then I'm going to instance this as well, all but not the source. All right, and then now I need a rubber, and I'm going to put all the instances on the body so it's easier to organize. So rubber, and I'm just going to go with this dry rubber right here, and Alt Control, drag that onto the yellow, and then instance this as well. All, uncheck the source, which is the body. All right, so that's up, and then now I want to get a lens on here, so I'm going to look for my reflector, and that's probably under just regular materials right there, and I will Alt. Actually, I'm just going to drag this on right there, and I'm going to go into the color, and for now I'll just make it red. Later I'll change red and blue, stuff like that. All right, so now I have an overall kind of feel of how the materials are in here, and I really noticed that this edging on this paint is way too thick, and we're going to change a bunch of that as we work on this model. All right, and definitely too much going on here. Now, this looks okay to me, but what I'd like to do when I'm working too is one last little thing, is I like to turn on shadow, and you'll see the difference. Right now, my model looks a little bit washed out, even when I shift right click and change the light. All right, but if I come over to my display settings and I enable shadow and intensive, and I can pull that opacity down just a little bit, you'll see that the paint looks more realistic, right? So let's just turn this on and off. So washed out and shadows. So I kind of like the shadows on. They can bog down your system a little bit. You can go with, a lightweight shadow if you want, just to speed things up. And then from there, I will start to modify the paint and art direct how I want the damage to be on each part. From this point forward, we're ready to start modifying the white paint. And I will do that per body part.